जी, अस्सलामुअलैकुम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। Today our lecture is about the lower bleeding, lower GI bleeding, lower gastrointestinal bleeding. Today's objectives basically are the definition of the lower GI hemorrhage, classification, differential diagnosis, workup, investigation, interventions, and treatment. And in the end, we will discuss the case scenario. So, lower GI hemorrhage defined as abnormal intraluminal blood loss from the source of distal to the teres ligament. The teres ligamentum is basically, it is also called the DJ junction. So the below the DJ junction, distal to the DJ junction, always a bleed comes in the rectal area. It's called lower GI hemorrhage. You can see here, DJ junction is basically starts from the end of the duodenum and the beginning of the jejunum. So you can see over here. If you over here, it's a D1, D2, D3, D4, and this is a stomach. You can see the fundus of the stomach. And you can see here it connects with the last end part of the duodenum, and it communicates with the stomach. It's called DJ. It's called DJ junction. ठीक है? Stomach connects with the D1 and ends. The duodenum ends on a D4, and D4 continues to the jejunum, the supreme. So this is called DJ junction. You can see here it's a DJ flexure. So the lower GI bleeding is classified as a massive, moderate, and mild. You can see in this chart, this is lower GI bleeding. It's a massive bleeding, moderate bleeding, and occult bleeding. So a patient who, so it has been divided into different grading of the bleed. If there is a massive bleed, the patient is greater than 65 years of age with a multiple medical problems. It can cause a massive bleeding, and it is also present with the hematochezia or bright red blood products. Hemodynamically, it could be unstable. The systolic blood pressure could be less than 90, and heart rate could be the 100, and low urine output. Hemoglobin would be the 6, below the 6 or would be the 6, and most commonly due to the, and is the most common cause of massive bleeding in a greater age is the diverticulosis and angiodysplasias. Moderately, it may be higher than 21%. So if you're talking about the moderate bleeding, the patient could be any age. It could be the more than 65, it could be the younger age. Patient presents with the hematochezia or melena. And the hemodynamically patient would be the stable because it's moderate bleeding, and long list of disease including a benign and rectal, congenital, inflammatory, and a neoplastic disease, moderate amount of acute and chronic bleeding. Occult bleeding, the patient with any age, patient presents with a macrocytic hemochromic anemia due to a chronic blood loss. Long list of diseases including congenital, inflammatory, and neoplastic disease may cause occult bleeding. So the lower GI bleeding has been divided into three types: massive, moderate, and occult. Depend upon the patient's age and depend upon the presentation of. So we will discuss individually. The massive lower GI bleeding is a passage of large volume of the red or maroon blood through the red. When they're passing, when they're loss of the large volume of the red blood from of the body, it could be hemodynamic instability and shock. So still blood pressure less than 90. Initial decrease in hematocrit level of 6 or less. Transfusion of at least 2 units of packed red blood cells. Bleeding that continues for 3 days. So significant rebleeding in 1 week. Differential diagnosis would be what? The differential diagnosis. Now the diagnosis of anal conditions which presents with the pain and bleeding is called fissure. If there is a pain with lump and bleeding, it's called it could be the prolapsed hemorrhoids, carcinoma of anal canal, prolapse of rectal polyp or carcinoma, and prolapsed rectum. So diagnosis of the condition presenting with the rectal bleeding but no pain. So the blood mixed with the stool called, it could be from the colon. Blood shows the streak on the stools could be the rectal. So the blood after defecation can be from the hemorrhoids. Blood and mucus is called colites. Blood alone diverticular disease. Melena is from the peptic ulcer. So in differential diagnosis, first we have discussed about the what is the massive lower GI bleeding, what is the moderate, and what would be the outcome. After discussing this story, after discussing that, we talked about the massive lower GI bleeding. What is the massive bleeding? So massive lower GI bleeding, when we will say it's a massive lower GI bleeding, we will say if the blood pressure becomes 90 or less than 90 because of the blood loss. we can say it's a large volume of the, when we can see there's a large volume of the red blood or maroon colored blood comes from it. We can see if there is a hemoglobin level, hematocrit level becomes fixed, becomes low, and the hemoglobin level becomes fixed. It's not hematocrit, the hemoglobin level becomes fixed. And if because of lower GI bleed, you start to transfusion of the units of PEG cell volume. So 2 units PEG cell volume at a time. It could be it is, so we can label it as a massive lower GI bleeding. So bleeding continues since 3 days, and again bleed starts since 1 week. Again starts significant blood loss. Again, so it is all about massive lower GI bleeding. You can call massive lower GI bleeding when these kind of effect occurs. Either it continues bleeding, either it rebleeds in 1 week, either you are going to transfuse the 2 pint of the red blood cells, either you initially you are either you can go for the CBC and you saw that there's 6 hemoglobin level, either patient is hemodynamically unstable. So how would you differentiate that? Now we have to put the differential diagnosis. If the bleeding occurs with a pain, it could be the fissure. If there is a pain, lump, and bleeding, it could be the hemorrhoid, it could be the carcinoma, it could be the rectal polyp, it could be prolapsed rectum. So, another deficient diagnosis presenting with the rectal bleeding but no pain. That that is differential diagnosis of the bleeding comes with the pain, and that differential diagnosis comes with the rectal bleeding but no pain. So blood mixed with the stools called colon carcinoma, blood streak on a stool called rectal carcinoma, blood after defecation called hemorrhoids, blood and mucous colitis, blood alone diverticular disease, and melena is a peptic ulcer. So blood mixed with the stools colon carcinoma, blood streak on a stool rectal carcinoma, blood after defecation hemorrhoids, blood and mucous colitis, blood alone diverticular disease, and melena. Lower GI hemorrhage in adults percentage of patient. Diverticular disease is 60%. Diverticulosis, diverticulitis of small intestine, diverticulitis of colon is 60%. Inflammatory bowel disease is a Crohn disease, and ulcerative colitis is 30%, 13%. Benign anorectal disease like hemorrhoid, fissure, and infection 11%. So neoplasia malignant is 9% of small intestine, malignant new colon. Coagulopathy and intravenous malformation total 100%. So the percentage of patient occurs. The most common cause of the lower GI bleeding is a diverticulitis. So if the question arises, what is the most common cause of the lower GI bleeding? Let's go. Lower GI hemorrhage in children and adolescents, what is called polyp and polyposis syndrome. So diverticulosis is the most common cause of lower GI bleeding. Lower GI hemorrhage in children, it's called intussusception. Polyps and polyposis syndromes. Juvenile polyposis, the Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, or familial endometrious polyps, and inflammatory bowel disease. It's the most common cause. Hemorrhoids. It is one of the common cause of the rectal bleeding. The causes, it could be the carcinoma can cause hemorrhoids. It could be the pregnancy, chronic constipation, also heart failure, excessive use of laxatives, and portal hypertension are the causes. These are the causes of the hemorrhoids. Laxatives are the cause of hemorrhoids. Constipation is the cause of the hemorrhoids. Carcinoma is the cause of the portal hypertension, excessive use of laxatives. These all are the causes of the hemorrhoids. So what are the types of the hemorrhoids? These are 2 types of the hemorrhoids: internal hemorrhoids and external hemorrhoids. Internal hemorrhoids. So there is the anal rectal ray. Basically there is the rectum and the anus. Anus is the 4 centimeter. You can see here. This is the anal area. This is the 4 centimeter, or about the one breadth of the finger. And the 4 centimeter above the 4 centimeter is the rectum. All are the rectum. It's like about 11 to 12 centimeter long, and it continues to the sigmoid colon. So the from the rectosigmoid junction. It is a 2 halves. One goes the right valve, 2 are the left valve. So it shows it basically to put the pressure on the defecation. So this is above the dental line. Whatever above the dental line is called internal hemorrhoids, which are basically covered by the internal mucosa. These are the venous congestion. This is the venous congestion. This is the dilatation of the venous, the anal cushion. Dilatation of the anal cushion can cause the hemorrhoids. So the develops above the dental line, covered by the anal mucosa. Legs are sensory. It doesn't have any sensation because it is a painless, because it is above the dental line, and it shows a bright red and purple in color. External hemorrhoid basically arises below the dental line. External hemorrhoid arises basically below the dental line, covered by the statinum, is covered by the squamous epithelium, as innervated by the inferior rectal nerve. Is innervated by the inferior rectal nerve. So it is a painful. Internal hemorrhoid drains into the superior rectal veins and the portal system external hemorrhoid into the inferior rectal veins and inferior vena cava. So grading our internal types. Basically, internal hemorrhoids are classified by degree of tissue prolapse into the anal canal. Grade 1, they are confined to the anal canal with a minimal bleeding or maybe asymptomatic but do not prolapse. Grade 2, they prolapse and defecating or standing, then reduce spontaneously. Grade 3, prolapse without standing and require manual reduction. Grade 4, the chronically prolapse and if reducible fallout, again another fallout of anus and are reducible, strangulated and surgical emergency. So they are the four grades. Now you should know about the four grades of the internal hemorrhoids. The external hemorrhoids always occurs outside of the canal, so it doesn't go inside. It becomes a thrombose. It becomes a painful because it is also presented externally. The internal could be the grade 1, could be the grade 2, either grade 3, either grade 4. Grade 3 is a manually uh, reducible. Grade 2 is spontaneously reducible, and grade 4 is a it could not be. It is a prolapse. So grade 1 usually are symptomatic or with a minimal bright red bleeding or defecation. So what would be the symptom? Symptom would be the earlier symptom starts bright red bleeding and surface of sternum palate. Number 2, if it becomes a prolapse, a much later symptom is a prolapse. Start transiently and defecation but occurs with increasing frequency until third degree of hemorrhage. Discharge, it can cause the mucus discharge accompanied prolapse. Pruritus and pain. There are the 5 main symptoms of the hemorrhoids. Grade 1 bleeding, prolapse, discharge, pruritus and pain. Hemorrhoid piles basically they are show the signs. Patient should be left lateral position. How would you do? How would you examine the patient? First, you have to place the patient in a different in a specific position. This is called left lateral position. The other types of positions are the lithotomy position, knee elbow position. Modified left lateral position is called the Sims position. You have to put the patient in these different positions. So you should know about the left lateral position. Then you have to inspect it. First degree hemorrhoid show no outward abnormality. You can't see the first degree hemorrhoid in a simple digital rectal examination, simple inspection. You can't see an inspection first degree. Second degree shows skin